The thing keeping you alive right now kills more people than any virus, any bacteria, any parasite on this list. Not a germ, not an invader, your own immune system. It has 10 major weapons. 9 of them are the reason you are alive to watch this. The 10th one is the reason people die from infections that should never have killed them. The thing keeping you alive right now kills more people than any virus, any bacteria, any parasite on this list. Not a germ, not an invader, your own immune system. It has 10 major weapons. 9 of them are the reason you are alive to watch this. The 10th one is the reason people die from infections that should never have killed them. Number 1. Skin. The wall nothing is supposed to get through. Your skin is not passive. It is not just a covering. It is packed with fatty acids that most bacteria cannot survive in, coated in a layer of acid with a pH low enough to kill many pathogens on contact, and shedding constantly. The outer layer replaces itself roughly every month, taking anything attached to it along with it. This is the first weapon, and it works without your immune system doing anything active at all. It is a wall, and almost everything on this list only exists because eventually something gets past it. Number 2. Mucus. It is not a symptom, it is a trap. Every wet surface exposed to the outside world, your nose, your throat, your lungs, your gut, is lined with mucus. And mucus is not simple slime. It is a physical trap. It is sticky enough to catch particles and pathogens on contact, and thick enough to stop them from reaching the cells underneath. In your lungs, tiny hair-like structures called cilia beat in a coordinated wave, moving that mucus and everything trapped in it, upward and out. When you have a cold and you produce more mucus than usual, that is not the infection making you sick. That is your body actively flushing the infection out. Number 3. Stomach acid. It is strong enough to dissolve metal, and that's the point. Your stomach maintains a pH low enough to strip paint. Almost nothing survives it. Bacteria that arrive in your food, in your water, on your hands, the vast majority are destroyed before they ever reach your intestine. This is why food poisoning happens with some pathogens and not others. Some bacteria have evolved specific defenses against stomach acid. Most have not. Your stomach is not just for digestion. It is a kill zone that most invaders never survive. Number 4. Neutrophils. The first responders, and they die doing the job. Within minutes of an injury or infection, neutrophils are the first immune cells to arrive at the scene. They are drawn there by chemical signals released by damaged tissue. And once they arrive, they do one of 2 things. They engulf bacteria directly, swallowing them whole and destroying them internally with a burst of toxic chemicals. Or they release their own DNA outward, forming a sticky web that physically traps pathogens in place. Most neutrophils die within hours of doing this. They are not built to last. They are built to arrive fast and act immediately. The pus in an infected wound is not the infection. It is a graveyard of neutrophils that already won. Number 5. Natural killer cells. They check if your own cells are lying to you. Some threats do not look like threats. A virus inside one of your own cells does not show up as foreign. It is hiding inside something your body already trusts. Natural killer cells solve this differently than most immune cells. They do not look for foreign markers. They check for a specific signal every healthy cell in your body is supposed to display, a kind of identification tag. If a cell has been hijacked by a virus or has become cancerous, that identification tag often disappears. No badge, no exception. The natural killer cell destroys it. It is not looking for the enemy. It is looking for the absence of proof that you are not the enemy. Number 6. The complement system. 30 proteins that build a hole in a straight line. This is one of the strangest weapons your body has, and most people have never heard of it. It is a chain of roughly 30 different proteins circulating in your blood, inactive, waiting. When one of them detects a pathogen, it activates the next one in the chain. That one activates the next. A cascade. each step amplifying the last. The final proteins in that chain assemble directly on the surface of the pathogen, forming a physical ring, a hole, punched straight through the pathogen's outer membrane. Fluid rushes in. The pathogen bursts. 30 separate proteins, none of them intelligent, none of them aware, cooperating to drill a hole in something and end it. Number 7. Fever. Your brain deliberately overheats your entire body. A fever is not your body malfunctioning. It is not the infection raising your temperature. It is a specific region of your brain, the hypothalamus, deliberately resetting your internal thermostat higher on purpose. Many pathogens replicate best at your normal resting temperature. Raise that temperature by even a few degrees and their replication rate drops sharply. At the same time, several of your immune cells work faster and more efficiently at that higher temperature. The chills, the shivering, the feeling of being cold when your temperature is actually rising, that is muscle activity, generating heat to reach the new target your brain has set. You are not losing the fight against the temperature. Your brain called for it. Number 8. Antibodies. A weapon shaped for one specific target, made in days. When your immune system encounters something new, it does not have a pre-built weapon for it. So it builds one. B cells produce proteins called antibodies, shaped with a level of specificity that borders on absurd, each one built to physically lock onto one particular molecular shape, and almost nothing else. Once that shape is locked onto a pathogen, it does several things at once. It can neutralize the pathogen directly, block it from entering your cells, and mark it clearly for destruction by other immune cells. The first time your body meets a new threat, this process takes days, which is why you often feel worse before you feel better. The second time you meet that exact same threat, sometimes years later, memory cells that stored the blueprint activate immediately. That is the entire principle behind a vaccine. Meeting the shape once safely, so the blueprint is already on file. Number 9. T cells. They inspect the inside of every cell in your body, constantly. This is the most invasive surveillance system in your entire body, and it never stops. Every single cell you have is required to constantly display small fragments of the proteins it is currently producing on its surface, like a running receipt of its own internal activity. T cells patrol your body, reading those receipts. If a cell is producing something it should not be, viral proteins, because it has been infected, or mutated proteins because it has become cancerous, a T cell can detect that fragment. And when it does not report the problem. It kills the cell directly, on the spot. Trillions of cells, each one required to prove its innocence continuously, for your entire life. Number 10. The immune response itself. The weapon that sometimes never learns to stop. Everything on this list so far works because it is targeted, and because it stops. Number 10 is different. When an infection becomes severe enough, your immune system can begin releasing massive quantities of signaling proteins called cytokines, calling for reinforcement everywhere, all at once. In a runaway case, that response stops being targeted. It is called a cytokine storm. Blood vessels become leaky throughout your entire body. Blood pressure collapses. Organs that were never infected, kidneys, liver, lungs, begin to fail. Not from the pathogen, but from the force of your own body's response around them. This is sepsis, and here is the part almost nobody knows. In a large share of sepsis deaths, the original infection was already survivable. What killed the person was the response that was supposed to save them, refusing to turn itself off. The same mechanism, unfocused, is also behind autoimmune disease, the immune system mistaking your own tissue for a threat and attacking it with the same tools built to kill pathogens. 9 weapons that know exactly when to stop. One that, under the wrong conditions, does not. So, 10 weapons. A wall that sheds itself. A trap made of slime. Acid strong enough to dissolve metal. Cells that die on arrival by design. Cells that hunt for the absence of proof. 30 proteins that drill a hole in a straight line. A brain that deliberately overheats you. Proteins built in days for one exact shape. trillions of cells interrogated every second of your life. And one process that, when it does not know when to stop, becomes the actual cause of death. Notice what almost every weapon on this list has in common. Restraint. The neutrophil dies rather than lingers. The natural killer cell needs proof of guilt, not just suspicion. The fever has a ceiling. The antibody is shaped for one target and nothing else. The system survives not because it is powerful. Raw power is easy. Anything can attack. It survives because it knows when to stop attacking. And the one weapon on this list that sometimes forgets that is the same one capable of ending you faster than anything it was built to fight. Subscribe, and I'll show you what happens when your own immune system decides that you are the threat.